History peeps, today we're going to be going over Thomas Jefferson, president number 3. Alright, so from 1801 to 1809. Let's get this party started. So the first thing that we have is the Revolution of 1800. You have the Democratic Republicans under Thomas Jefferson going against John Adams and the Federalists. Okay, so what happens here after 35 tries, what happens is that Thomas Jefferson is going to beat Aaron Burr, because it goes to the House of Representatives, and they end up getting Thomas Jefferson elected, and out the door goes John Adams after one term. Alright, the Federalists, this is their biggest fear come true. You have this guy that said he supports the French Revolution, the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants, and now he's president. So eventually, what's going to happen is Thomas Jefferson's going to be inaugurated by his cousin John Marshall. And the real thing that you need to remember is that it's the first peaceful transition of power. The Democratic Republicans, people are freaking out, what are they going to do? And then it's just normal after that. And that's an established tradition in the United States. Whether the election went your way or not, it's a peaceful transition. And the president assumes the power and assumes the responsibilities, and America relaxes and deals with it and brings issues if they have it to the Congress. All right, midnight judges. This is the Judicial Act of 1801. Basically what happens is John Adams is upset that he loses the election, so he appoints a bunch of Federalist judges, the Chief Justice being John Marshall, TJ's second cousin. Basically what happens here is that they're going to be watching over the Democratic Republicans for the duration. Which brings us to an interesting court case, Marbury versus Madison. So under John Adams, John Marshall was the Chief Justice. And being as John Adams lost the election, John Marshall was supposed to deliver all these certificates to people saying that they got appointed. Well, the problem is that he kind of runs out of time, because when that clock strikes midnight, he's no longer going to be the Secretary of State. He's now going to be Chief Justice. All right. And so what happens after he swears in TJ? He's now Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And there's this interesting guy named William Marbury, who's the certificate that he's supposed to get saying that he has the job is still sitting on the Secretary of State's desk. The Secretary of State now is James Madison. So Marbury says basically, I want my job, give me my job. Madison says, I'm not going to give you your job, I can't give you your job. It goes all the way to the Supreme Court, and the ruling is, look, it's complicated here. You actually should have your job, but being as there's this thing called the Judicial Act of 1789, and that actually gave way more power to the Supreme Court than it's supposed to. So we're getting rid of that. But John Marshall says, look, Madison, you can't, or Marbury, you can't, a lot of M's here. Marbury, you can't have your job. That's, if Thomas Jefferson doesn't want to give it to you, he can't do it. So the big outcome of this court case is judicial review. Supreme Court can look at any court case or law and decide if it's constitutional or not. All right? So it expands the power of the Supreme Court. Moving over here to the Haitian Revolution. Real quick, Toussaint L'Ouverture is fighting against Napoleon in France. At one point, France said that their colony of Saint-Domingue, what we call Haiti today, was their people were free, and then Napoleon takes power and takes it all away, causes a revolution. That causes some serious problems and instability in the region. And what happens is the Louisiana Purchase. France takes over Spain, and so being as we just acquired the Louisiana, or the Mississippi River, that goes away. And so we send people over to discuss this matter with France, ask if we can have the Mississippi River again. They say, look, do you actually just want the whole Louisiana territory? Because it looks like we're going to lose our empire. And we're like, really? Can we do that? And Thomas Jefferson buys the Louisiana Territory, which doubles the size of the United States, creates manifest destiny. One problem, though. For a strict interpreter of the Constitution, this is actually unconstitutional. And he says himself, I stretched the Constitution till it cracked. So, it is what it is. All right? Moving down here to the 12th Amendment. It changes the presidential election. If you're going to have whoever you're running, if you're president, you have to choose a running mate, as opposed to the most number of people gets president, the second number gets vice president. Because hypothetically, you could have a situation where Donald Trump, let's say, would be president, and then Hillary Clinton would be vice president. Now, obviously, that's not going to work. Right? Barbary Wars. Basically, what happens is the United States does not like paying tribute to pirates. We do not like that in any way, shape, or form, it leads to being about 20% of our national budget. So basically what happens is, after a couple humiliating defeats where they force us to lower our flags and increase tribute, Thomas Jefferson sends troops over there, forms a navy, again not unconstitutional because Congress has power to declare war, and TJ just goes ahead and sends troops over there. Long story short, we do win, and the pirates basically start respecting us. We had William Eaton conquering and fighting, but basically this is a boost for our national morale. Moving over here to the Napoleonic Wars. So it's Napoleonic Wars. England's at war with France. Again, we're trying to stay out of it. Okay? What happens is that the French are attacking our boats because we're not supporting their revolution. England is taking our people and kidnapping them in what's called impressments. And so that leads you over here to the Chesapeake Affair. The British stop one of our ships. Their boat is called the Leopard, and our boat is called the Chesapeake. They stop our boat, make us lower our flag, which is the equivalent of getting a wedgie, and they take our people away. They kill 7 people, and then 4 of the people are taken captive. They say that these were deserters from the British military, which one of them's a Native American, another one's a black. It's very unclear how that actually happened. All right, and so America's pissed and they want war. And you know what? It looks like war is going to happen. Okay? Thomas Jefferson's response is cut off trade with everybody, which seems good in theory with this embargo act of 1807 nicknamed the Dambargo, but it's an epic failure. The economy plummets. We're not trading with anybody. The economy is going really bad. And basically that's how Thomas Jefferson's going to end his presidency, with the economy going down, and James Madison's going to have to pick up the pieces there. We do have 2 other pieces of information here before our time together is done. The first is the importation of slavery. If you look at the Constitution, one of the compromises that was reached was by 1808, by January 1st, 1808, all slave imports would stop. And slavery could maybe continue, but then it would gradually die off. The goal here is stop the importation of slaves, and then gradually slavery will just naturally die off, because the founders and framers didn't know quite how to deal with the issue of slavery. We just figured it would naturally die off. There's just one problem. The cotton gin is starting to make cotton production really, really popular, thanks to Eli Whitney. One last thing here, we have Native Americans. Thomas Jefferson's Native American policy isn't a very nice one, but it is one that we do need to mention. His policy is make the Native Americans so dependent on the U.S. government that they have no choice but to either move or become dependent on the United States, and gradually they will assimilate into our culture. Of course, there's going to be a Shawnee Native American named Tecumseh, and he's going to battle it out with William Henry Harrison over the debate of we want a united nation for our Native Americans. We want a spot where the United States isn't going to take away our way of life, of hunting and farming and that kind of tradition. And basically, again, James Madison is going to have to deal with that situation. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thomas Jefferson in a nutshell. May the force be with you, and please, oh please, study those notes.